when I give it back to God, it blesses other people. God said to me many years ago as I was starting this, because of your obedience to what I have told you to do, people are going to pray your success to me, God. And because of the thing that they've seen you obey, you will be enriched in every way so that never being in lack of anything, you would be able to give.
I love that.
That was the promise God gave me.
Yeah. Mignon, as you talk, I hear for a lot of us, one, we sometimes limit God, and sometimes we hurry God, right? We want to rush the process that God is taking us through. And there was a quote you said a lot of us aren't afraid of failure. We're afraid of success.
Yeah.
Unpack that for us today, because
Yeah.
I know I thought I was afraid of failure, because if I fail, people are going to laugh at me and they're going to say, you said you're going to start this business and you left your job and you put your family in jeopardy and the blah, blah, blah. Right. And that's what is in my head as the fear.
Yeah. That's not what you're afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
First, I want to address the fear. Of all the gifts that you've been given in your life, fear is not your gift.
Ooh.
The Bible says that God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and a sound mind. One version says a disciplined mind to be able to discern. But fear isn't something that God gave you. So fear doesn't come from God. So the first thing I hope your audience hears me say is don't, how people say, do it afraid. Don't do it afraid. Fear is not your gift. Do it in faith. So that's the first thing that I hope people hear. And then that sort of ties into the whole being afraid of failure. People think it's a failure that you're not afraid to fail. If you even remotely thought that the idea you had wasn't good, you wouldn't be out here telling people. If you even remotely thought that it wouldn't work, you would say, I got this idea, it's kind of silly, but if it worked, man, that would be really cool. But you don't say stuff like that. You say with conviction, I'm gonna start a business and this is gonna be, and you start envisioning your clients and why they're gonna want it and how it's gonna serve and all the kinds of, you only see it successful. That's why you want to do it, because you can only see it successful. And the enemy tells you stuff like, oh, you're afraid, then people are gonna make. That's not what you're afraid of. You're afraid of being successful, because if I'm successful, then I have to show up to this business when I don't feel like it. If I'm successful, when I'm tired, I still got to go to work. We worked how many months to get this interview on the books?
Right.
Like, that required something of me, and it required something of you in order to keep on coming back and me to keep on answering until we got it on the books.
Yeah.
So that it could bless somebody else, right? Yeah. Success requires something of you. Work is required of you. And I'm sorry, many of us don't want to do that level of work. So I would submit to you that failure is not what you're afraid of. Success makes you scared because you know there's something hard that's coming as a result of being successful.
Yeah.
You don't get to watch TV when you want to.
Yeah.
You don't get to go to the parties everybody else is going to. You don't get to take the vacations everybody is taking. You don't get to get off and be at home when the end of day bell rings. You don't get to go to your children's basketball games sometimes. Like, you miss out on some of the things that are going on in your family, the reunions, you miss out.
Yeah. Mignon, when you said that, it took me back to a show. You remember the show Fame?
Yes.
With Debbie Allen says
live forever.
Yeah, that's called, oh man, I gotta go watch
Irene
that
Cara
episode.
just died. She just passed away.
Oh, sorry. It's where Debbie Allen says to them, if you want fame, this is where it starts. Fame costs. And right here is where you start paying. To your point, success costs. It costs sacrifice. And to your point, maybe for a lot of us, that's the challenge, that you're afraid of paying that cost and that sacrifice and all that it will pull out of you to get where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, it's been 17 years and the Cupcake Collection, God has done amazing things.
Yes.
What have you learned about Mignon now in this process? And what have you learned about God in this process?
Mm-hmm. I learned that Mignon can do hard things. And I learned that God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all I could ask or think. I learned that God is faithful to do just what he said. I learned that as I follow God, he's waiting on me. There's a song that says, "You're waiting on God, he's waiting on you."